Hey everybody, Autism Fitness founder, leading the movement for movement, Eric Chessen, with you yet again for another edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday training. And yes, normally my table doesn't have my jujitsu bag there, but I left it there and I'm not taking it down right now. However, that is not going to be an impediment, either way, to getting this Tuesday training to you, nor should it be. And if you are ready yourself to join the movement for movement, then head on over to autismfitness.com, learn about and register for the Autism Fitness certification that gives you the tools, the training, the education, and the coaching prowess to deliver outstanding fitness and adapted PE programs to the autism and neurodivergent population of any age and any ability level. So this Autism Fitness Tuesday training is going to be the top five crossover benefits of fitness in different situations and environments. And the inspiration behind this is I get a big cross section of the autism supportive community, whether they are professionals or parents and family members who are part of the certification. So I thought here I'd share some of the most important aspects of fitness depending on the environment or the situation. So first, let's start with adapted physical education. So in adapted PE, for adapted physical education, two big components or crossover skills are, number one, establishing healthy movement habits on a daily or at least a weekly basis, and having that social component as well. So typically in an adapted PE session, we're going to have a small or even a medium-sized group of students, and we can all have that integrated fitness program at the current level of ability for that particular athlete. So with adapted PE, what we are able to introduce by having a general fitness program is, number one, the viability to produce a training effect, meaning that the general fitness is going to have that improvement in strength, stability, and motor planning outside of the adapted PE setting. And we can also have that socialization component and use those interactions during the adapted PE session itself. And we can also structure the program, or you can structure the program in a way that makes sense for each student who is participating in that program. Next, let's talk about occupational and physical therapy. So whether it is school-based or whether it's in a clinic, one of the biggest crossover aspects of generalized fitness training, the type that we do in Autism Fitness and what the programs are based on, is it provides a structure and a complete way. I'll get to what I mean by complete, but a complete way to integrate a program for all three ability levels. So all three ability levels, obviously including the physical. So those global movement patterns, push, pull, carry, squat, hinge, all of these things that when we make those our focus are going to produce that training effect, meaning the athlete is going to develop the skills that are going to show up elsewhere, thus generalizing. But we can do that. So if you're in an occupational or physical therapy setting and you want greater structure, we're not only talking about the physiological programming, but how often do you have an athlete who is easily dysregulated or gets off task? And we ask, how can we actually measure this effectively and show progress over time? Well, we can do that using the PAC profile: physical, adaptive, and cognitive. Physically, we have the structure around the exercises that we're using, the sets, the reps, the modifications, the progressions. Adaptively, we have plans in place for positive coaching support so that you are able to engage the individual in a way that is eventually going to have them more engaged, more focused, and more successful with the program. And the cool thing is that we can measure all three skills, the physical, the adaptive, and I know I haven't gotten to it yet, but the cognitive, in terms of the athlete's ability to communicate, to follow coaching directions, etc. We can take these three verticals, these three skill sets, the physical, adaptive, and cognitive, and we can set goals and we can measure those goals as well. So again, we have a significant benefit in integrating this structured program and having it cross over with some of the other physical therapy goals or occupational therapy goals that you might have in a clinical setting or you might have in a school-based setting as well, especially if we're talking about bringing those skills into different environments. Then we can really tell whether that skill has the stickiness of being able to carry over into other situations. The third environment or situation where we have great crossover, and this one really excites me, is speech, whether it's speech therapy or speech pathology. I love incorporating speech targets into fitness and adapted PE sessions so much that I'm shifting my chair here. So with speech, it may not seem immediately apparent, but we can integrate speech targets, whether they're words, phrases, prepositions, short-term memory, full sentences, all of these things that I know a lot of professionals who are working with the autism and neurodivergent population set goals around. These are things that work in really, really, really well in speech programs. So you can integrate the movement component of it and doing sandbell slams or medicine ball throws, and then work on that short-term memory, for example. So what exercise did we do first? What did we do second? What do we do third? Of course, we can use some visual strategies or visual supports with this as well. But fitness and movement programs, when they are incorporated individually and when there is that appropriate structure to them, can be an absolutely, I would say, astounding and outstanding collaborative process in speech therapy or speech pathology. So building in movement gives kind of this real experiential component to that speech development, and that is one of the most exciting aspects of crossover between fitness and other areas of development. Fourth, residential facilities. So talking about different environments and situations. One of the biggest pushes with Autism Fitness is to provide fitness training programs for the adult autism population, because movement, oddly enough, doesn't stop with just childhood age. In fact, it is easy to argue, would love to debate this, probably will never get the chance, but nonetheless, movement is just as, if not more important into those adult years. There are more and more articles and research studies and anecdotes about the fact that our adult and aging autism population is inactive. And since that's the case, then we have to have these terrible discussions about lifestyle related medical complications, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, aches and pains that we know arise from aging when individuals do not have an appropriate, effective fitness program. So for residential facilities, the opportunity to build fitness into the course of the day or a week, ideally multiple times per week, can have extraordinary preventative and proactive effects as well. We talk about managing one's daily health habits, hygiene, nutrition. Fitness is a pillar of that conversation. So when we integrate structured programs that are based predominantly in strength training, and we are able to progress or modify the exercises in the program for every single individual, then we can create a system in which It is not too advanced, nor is it too modified for any particular individual. It meets their current needs. And for our adults on the autism spectrum, it provides one of the greatest quality of life boosters possible. So integrated into the daily activities of individuals who are in a residential facility is a huge aspect of developing a greater overall outcome for this population. Super important. Love discussing that one. And finally, in the home. So, another crossover aspect of fitness programming. So, in the home, we've had some fantastic and highly motivated parents and family members who, for example, go through the certification because they really want to bring the programming in home. And in home can be challenging, but at the same time, it it provides parents and family members an opportunity to interact in a very positive and meaningful way. It may not happen immediately with fitness, but once we get over some of the initial challenges of doing fitness in the home, first of all, we have regular access to the equipment and to the activities because it's in the home. We can build it into that structured time in the morning or in the afternoon or on the weekend, and it's something that everybody can look forward to because now everybody is up and moving and we can see the accomplishments in real time for the athlete as well. And just as important, if in fact more so, we are establishing healthy habits in the home on a regular basis. So, as is the case with many neurotypical individuals, the habits that we start building in childhood and adolescence and in the teen years, a lot of those carry on, not in every instance and not with every habit, but these things, if we establish them early on, have the propensity to continue on. And that's why, whether it's the school setting or the home setting, if we are integrating fitness programs that meet the needs physically, adaptively, and cognitively of each student or each participant, if we're doing this early on, we look at the outcome measures as those younger individuals get into adolescence, they get into their teen and adult years. Those healthy habits are going to have a compound impact and benefit over the years. I think about some of the athletes that I've worked with over the last 20 something years of my career and imagining, oh, well, what if they started out with their fitness programs at, 8 years old or 9 years old or 10 years old? We start where we start, and that's fine. So if an individual starts at 25 or they start at 30 or they start at 35, but you think about the compound nature of fitness or nutrition over the course of a lifetime, and it makes a big difference. So those are some of the main and most important ways in which fitness programs can cross over or generalize, or how they can be integrated into other environments and other areas of practice. So we have adapted physical education, we have occupational and physical therapy, we have speech therapy and speech pathology, we have residential facilities, and then of course we have the home. And of course, like the platinum level of awesomeness here would be if fitness is being done in these multiple environments. And so we have more practice, more generalization, and more opportunities to engage in meaningful movement. So if you fit any of these categories, of course, you are more than just a singular category, but if you fit any of these categories as far as your practice and think that fitness might be something that would highly benefit your population, then I'm glad this has been helpful. If it's illuminated some things that you might not have thought about with respect to how fitness can impact the young and teen and adults autism and neurodivergent population, then great. The job has been done and the conversation has been started. And finally, if you're ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, there's a link in the description below. Join me in the online course, and then for your live, full day, in person or virtual, practical, and bring meaningful, effective, truly transformative fitness and adapted PE programs to the individuals that you serve on a daily basis. I'm Autism Fitness founder Eric Chessen, leading the movement for movement. This has been Tuesday Training. Thanks for watching. Oh, and I forgot the whole, definitely, couple things. Number one, please like, definitely subscribe, share this with anybody who you think it might help. And I want to know about how you think of integrating fitness programs into your existing practice. Leave it in the comments below. And if there's a subject that you want me to cover within relation to fitness and the autism or neurodivergent population, if there's a topic that you'd like me to cover, if there's a question that you have, leave that in the comments below. Also, would love to know what you want to know more about and further the movement for movement worldwide.